Hello, dear students, Jai Hind and very good morning. Welcome back. Today, you are going to attend lecture number 6 in the chapter we already know, that is, chapter number 13, Magnetic Effect of Electric Current. As I told you in my previous lecture already, that some of the topics has been deleted. Understand why? I don't know why they have deleted the topic of electric generator. Why they deleted the topic of AC/DC. We are going to cover in today's lecture all the topics. Understand? In today's lecture, our discussion is mainly on one very important phenomenon, that is electromagnetic induction. That is what we are going to study today. Then we will also understand Fleming's right hand rule, and we will get idea about construction and working of electric generator. As usual, there is much only minor difference, understand, in the construction of electric generator and electric motor, a minor difference. And then we will have some glimpse regarding understanding AC and DC current, as you all know, understood. So, dear student, first chapter, let me write the title, but you all know actually, last chapter in physics, that is magnetic effect. Okay, magnetic effect of electric current. Okay, magnetic effect of electric current. And you are attending lecture number 6 today. Now, dear student, phenomenon which we are going to target today and understand today is very important. Understand, which is a great breakthrough in physics, right? That is electromagnetic induction, topic 13.5 from your textbook. Topic number doesn't matter much, what matter is the content. Electromagnetic induction. First, let us try to understand this. Okay, electromagnetic induction, what does it mean? Electromagnetic induction, let us try to understand this. Actually, what the word itself implies, understand, is actually the meaning of this electromagnetic induction. Try to understand. Just let us move a little back to our previous topic of electric motor. You all know very well that principal construction and working of electric motor was based on that principle. where it was summarized as Fleming's left hand rule. Understand what we studied there? There, whenever a conductor is placed inside magnetic field and electric current is passed through that conductor, it experiences a particular type of force, that is electromagnetic force, which actually forces the conductor to move in the magnetic field that we have understood already, right? Just to remind again, because electromagnetic induction is exactly opposite to that. What we have studied, whenever a current carrying conductor, which is sometimes called a live conductor, is placed inside magnetic field, and if electric current is passed through the conductor, it starts motioning, means it starts movement. Understand? And if the conductor is not in the form of a straight conductor but in the shape of armature, due to this electromagnetic force, it starts rotating. In electromagnetic induction, we are going to study exactly the opposite. What is that? If we move conductor inside the magnetic field, try to understand this. If we motion or move, if you think of coil, obviously rotate, but to make it more simple, just then we will understand in electric generator, but simply if we move conductor inside magnetic field by some mechanical energy, what happens? Does current is induced in the conductor? Exactly opposite to that, where you pass the conductor and you achieve the movement of the conductor. Here conductor has to be rotated, and we have to ensure, is any current produced in the conductor? That is actually the principle of electromagnetic induction. What does it say? If a conductor is rotated inside magnetic field, electric current is produced in the conductor. Is it possible? Yes or no? Let us perform. Just in textbook they have given one simple experiment. Let us try to understand this. One experiment. Suppose you take a straight long wire conductor, and I want to make a coil of the conductor. What will I do? I will select one hollow soft iron cylinder. Suppose this is, suppose a soft iron cylinder I have taken. Okay. And on this soft iron cylinder, I just have to wrap the insulated copper wire which I already have. Suppose the wire has been, conductor word we generally utilize. Suppose the wire has been wound around this, okay? Suppose this way. And dear student, if you connect the wire conductor with, suppose one device, here I am showing it, okay, let me call it G, that is galvanometer, okay. What is actually this galvanometer is? This is galvanometer. Galvanometer is a special device which is not going to measure the amount or magnitude of current. For that we have ammeter already. Galvanometer just gives us an idea regarding the presence of current. So the role of galvanometer is just to detect the presence of the current, just to detect whether the current is flowing in the coil of wire or not. That is detected by galvanometer, okay. Suppose student, this has been the arrangement, okay, and suppose we take one bar magnet, okay. Suppose I have taken a bar magnet already, and I am keeping the magnet in such a way that one of the pole will face the end of the coil here, okay. So these are some of the instruments to understand the principle of electromagnetic induction. Suppose this is, dear student, a soft iron cylinder, okay. This is, as you know, coil which we have made, okay. This is actually galvanometer. What is the role of galvanometer? Just to detect the presence of the current. Understand? And this is already a bar magnet. Understand? This is bar magnet. Okay. These are some of the arrangement to basically understand the principle of electromagnetic induction. Understood? Now, dear student, what we have? We have a coil of wire. We have a magnet, means we have magnetic field and conductor. We want to just understand that what happens if we do a relative motion of both. Either I keep the coil stationary and I will move the magnet to and fro, means the movement of the magnet has to be one time towards the coil and one time moving away from the coil. Or, dear student, I keep the magnet stationary and I'll let me move the coil towards magnet, away from magnet, means I am going to ascertain myself that by relative motion of both coil and magnet, do we detect presence of current in the galvanometer or not? That is what we are going to discuss. This is galvanometer, and just to understand more, I am just now not writing G here, I am showing the pointer only. Understand? This is the scale on which pointer is going to move. This is 0, and initially the galvanometer pointer is pointing towards the 0. Now, dear student, what happens? When you start moving the bar magnet towards the coil, you will immediately see the deflection in the point, and you will see the pointer moving rightward. Understand? And pointer is moving this way. Understood? But try to understand this. You start moving the magnet, that means you do not have to do this way, not this way. You move magnet and stop. When you move the magnet, understand, you will see the pointer deflection to right. But the moment you stop, again the pointer shows the zero mark. You understood this? Again, you move the bar magnet away, again the pointer, understand, will move, so the deflection in anti-clockwise direction. But the moment you stop, understand, you are actually snatching the bar magnet rapidly away. When you are moving it, you will see the deflection, but once the magnet becomes stationary, it shows the zero pointer. That means one thing is clear, that when bar magnet is stationary, no current is detected in the coil of the wire. Even though magnet is near to the coil, no deflection of the pointer can be seen, but moment you move the bar magnet maybe towards coil or away from the coil, keeping the coil stationary, you will both the time see the deflection of the pointer, once rightward and once leftward, that it suggests presence of electric current in the coil of the wire. That means one thing is clear, dear student, moment of bar magnet produces electric current in the conductor. Now suppose you do one more thing. You keep the bar magnet stationary and you move the whole arrangement, coil towards the magnet and away from the magnet again. When you are moving the coil towards magnet or away from magnet, you will see deflection of the pointer, which suggests the presence of electric current in the coil. That means by relative motion of magnet and conductor, electric current can be produced in the conductor, and this phenomenon is actually known as electromagnetic induction. You understood this? What is the meaning of electromagnetic induction? This, that by relative motion of both either magnet or coil of wire, means conductor, electric current is not, we will use the word produced, but induced in the coil of wire. That current is known as induced current, and this phenomenon is known as electromagnetic induction. You understood this? Okay. There is one another experiment also has been given in textbook regarding the two coils, but that I don't think it necessary to just understand. Okay, this is enough for you to understand the phenomenon of electromagnetic induction. Now the question is, this is a simple experiment to understand the phenomenon of electromagnetic induction, and one of the greatest scientists, Michael Faraday, gave the concept of electromagnetic induction. Okay. Now you start imagining electric motor, because the concept which we are going to discuss after this, that is electric generator, has the construction base similar to that electric motor, 90% similar, What was there in the construction of electric motor? A horseshoe magnet. Inside the horseshoe magnet we have excelled an armature for free rotation. Understand? Now you start imagining that only. That inside the horseshoe magnet we are going to keep an armature and we are going to rotate the armature. Understood? An electric current will be produced on this by the phenomenon of electromagnetic induction. Now your imagination has to be that only. There you can do two things. Either you keep magnet stationary and rotate the coil, or keep the coil stationary and rotate the magnet. In both the case, by relative motion of magnet and conductor, electric current will be produced in the conductor. That is known as electromagnetic induction. Now dear student, let us try to understand. Actually I want to make you understand right hand thumb rule. Actually in textbook it is given before and then electric generator, but my target is, let us first understand the construction of electric generator and how it works, and then I will give you the idea regarding Fleming's right hand rule. Okay, let's understand the construction of electric generator, looking much similar like electric motor. Okay, let us try to understand electric generator. Actually electric generators are huge sized, understand, and consisting of large size powerful horseshoe magnet. Okay, let us try to understand. Suppose dear student, first now we are studying electric generator. Okay, electric generator. Here in generator also a powerful horseshoe magnet, and inside the magnet we are going to keep an armature or coil of wire. Okay, which needs to be rotated from some external mechanical energy support. Okay, see, suppose this is, let us try to understand its working. Okay, this is north pole. Okay, we are not going to show the full magnet, that you all know, and you must be knowing very well. Again and again I am telling you, what is important is not just to draw the figure. Important is you should have the concept application. You should know what you are drawing. Understand? This is suppose a magnet. Okay, just to create some three-dimensional effect. Okay, right, this is magnet already, and north pole of the magnet. Okay, right. Then let us also show another pole of the magnet also. This is north pole we have shown. Okay, right. And suppose we show here south pole of the magnet. We need to understand the working of the electric generator in proper way. Suppose this is south pole. Okay, also just to produce this three-dimensional effect. Okay, just to understand it. Okay, this is magnet. Okay, now dear student, inside the magnet we are going to keep what? Armature as usual. Okay, but at least do one thing before you draw the armature. Let us be sure that we will draw the axle. Okay, and you all know this axle provides the free pivotal moment, understand, to the coil of the wire. This is suppose the coil of the wire which is kept inside. Okay, this is coil of wire, right? Coil of wire, as you know, we have also drawn it in case of electric motor also. This coil of wire, dear student, understand, both the ends are connected with, as you know, what you know the slip rings. We have studied in electric motor also two slip rings. Suppose here, dear student, here I am not just drawing the axle, I am just showing you. Suppose one slip ring here. Understand, and this slip ring actually is going to rotate. Understand, definitely, right? It is going to rotate along with the axle, as you know, and here I show a carbon brush. Okay. Now for this, again I will show one another slip ring. Okay. Suppose one another slip ring we show. Another slip rings. And also here I will show one carbon brush. Okay, you know very well that carbon brushes are providing those sliding contacts. Understand? Suppose I say this slip ring as R1 and this carbon brush as B1, this slip ring as R2 and this carbon brush as B2. Understood? Here they have shown axle which no need to show. Understand, you can draw it this way, axle. Okay, otherwise we all know that it is going to rotate on the axle, that we all know. Suppose this is axle. Okay, let us show this way so that you can understand. On axle it is going to rotate, and dear student, as you know, the carbon brushes remains in contact, understand, with galvanometer, as you know. For galvanometer is for the purpose of detection of electric current. Okay. Suppose here we show galvanometer. Okay. And let us complete the circuit. This is the circuit. Okay. Is it clear? Now, dear student, the apparatus which you have shown here are, this is what? Horseshoe magnet, as you know. Okay. What is this? I may call it coil, I may call it armature also. Okay. What are these? Actually, these are slip rings. Why we call it slip rings? You know, slip rings R1 and R2, which has a sliding contact with the carbon brushes. Okay. These are carbon brushes. Carbon brushes B1 and B2, which are actually providing, this is axle, dear student, on which the coil is free to rotate, and this is what we have shown, a galvanometer. Okay. Now dear student, here the case is different. You know, we are going to give some mechanical support to rotate this coil. We are going to provide the mechanical energy, okay, mechanical energy from outside to rotate the coil inside. Now what happens? Try to understand it, because I told you that we will understand right hand rule just from the working of the generator. See, suppose dear student, can you tell me the direction of magnetic field? What is that? Obviously the direction of magnetic field is this. This is the direction of magnetic field, north to south, you know, means horizontal. Now you are providing the mechanical energy so that the coil rotates. How the coil rotate? Suppose AB moves down, CD moves upward, means this way we are going to create the moment of the coil. Understand? That means, my dear student, if I just suggest you this way, that this is showing the motion of the conductor, obviously. Understand? Because the coil of wire, you are going to move it in this way. So downward direction is showing actually the motion of the conductor. This horizontal direction is showing actually the direction of magnetic field. Now what happens? The moment you start rotating this armature inside the magnet, you will see induced current is produced in the coil of wire, which is traveling from A to B, B to C, C to D. Understand? D to, it is going to be to slip ring R2, then brush B2. This is the direction of the current initially. Okay, so you understood one thing. Now let us try to understand right hand rule. See, right hand rule gives the idea regarding three. What? Direction of magnetic field, direction of induced current, and direction of motion of conductor. See, right hand rule. Come on, take your right hand, keep your, with me, first these two finger, keep your middle finger, forefinger and thumb this way. Try to understand, dear student. Thumb shows the motion of the conductor, middle finger horizontal shows the direction of magnetic field, then the forefinger shows the direction of the current. You can understand easily. This is right hand rule. Okay, so this way, my dear student, electric current is produced in the coil of the wire. Now what happens after half rotation? What happens? CD comes in place of AB and AB comes in place of CD. So direction of current is going to reverse in the coil. How? CD comes here, so direction of current will be from D to C, and in AB it will be from B to A. So because the direction of current reverses inside the coil in external circuit also, the direction of electric current reverses. Suppose initially I say ABCD, now I have to say DCBA, and direction of current is totally reversed. First this is the direction, now this is the direction. So in every half rotation the direction of current is going to be totally reciprocal to each other. Understand? One time it is going to move from B2 to B1, now it will move from B1 to B2. So dear student, what I want to say is that in external circuit, the direction of current is going to be reversed in every half rotation, and this current when supplied to external circuit, it is definitely an alternating current which we call AC current, okay, which we call AC current, okay, alternating current. That's why you must understand, because of this type of arrangement where there are two different slip rings, both individual different, understand, it's not like the motor arrangement. Two slip rings are different, understand, keeping in contact with the carbon brush, and that's why we are getting every half rotation of reversed current which we call AC current. Suppose, my dear student, if you want to get a DC current, what is the minor change in the arrangement? Rather than taking one slip ring or two slip ring, you have to just take one slip ring like you understood in motor, only one slip ring divided into two halves by insulator. uh, Two halves of the slip ring are connected with two carbon brush, understand, where if you make arrangement which is sometimes known as rectifier arrangement, try to understand, rectifier arrangement, or you can utilize the word commutator arrangement also. In such arrangement, there are not two coils, but there will be, see, I just show you, suppose these two ends of the coil, okay. There are not two slip rings in the commutator or rectifier arrangement, there is only one slip ring, okay. And this one slip ring which I am showing now is actually divided into two halves by insulator, okay, and here are two carbon brush which remains in constant contact of the slip ring, okay. Such type of arrangement which we have shown here is known as rectifier or commutator arrangement, okay. This one, understood, this is commutator or we call it rectifier arrangement. On account of this rectifier arrangement, you are going to get a constant unidirectional current in the external circuit. Understood? Dear student, what happens the moment the direction of current changes in the coil? Here slip ring also rotates, understand, and it tried to maintain the constant unidirectional current in the external circuit, like in motor I told you. No doubt in motor we are supplying electric current from outside, understand, but that current which we supply has to flow in only unidirectional, then and then you get the constant movement of the coil in one direction, otherwise, so what happens, once coil rotates this way and this way, so it is not going to work. The same rectifier or commutator arrangement exists in DC generator, and that produces the current, okay. Types of current, AC, DC, okay. What is the difference? You understood very well. The difference is quite simple. What is that? AC, alternating current, You must have understood, or somewhere in previous standard you may be taught by the teacher, that alternating current means it changes its direction, but how it changes, now you understood it. That is AC current. Understand? DC current, unidirectional, no change in the current, in the direction. Not only that, magnitude of AC current fluctuates. It sometimes increases, sometimes decreases. This is not the case with DC current. Its magnitude remains constant. Understand? If you just want to show it through graph, you can show AC current in somewhat this way. Okay. Suppose we draw the graph for AC current. Suppose with time. Okay. And suppose this is DC current with time. Okay. If you just want to compare AC and DC current, how will you compare? Simply by the graph. So just understand, this is AC current which is going to fluctuate in direction and magnitude also. This is AC current. This is not the case with DC current. Understand? No change in magnitude, no change in direction also. Right? One more thing. Then why don't we make commutator or rectifier arrangement in all generators and produce DC current? But dear student, after you produce DC current, it is very difficult to transfer it, means to transport it to a long distance. Its transportation cost is very higher compared to the AC current. That's why when we receive current from external circuit in our home, that is only AC current, that's not DC. Because you just start thinking that electric current produced at one power station, that electric current which is produced, just start thinking. Suppose, just for an example, you must be knowing in social study also, it comes some multi-purpose power project. If you heard, near Vadodara, near Dabhoi, Vanakbori thermal power station. Suppose electric current is produced there in large amount, and suppose that electric current has to be brought to our district, suppose. So electric current produced at Dabhoi, means Vanakbori thermal power station, needs to be transferred to our substation in Bhavnagar. How they can transfer? You all know, high transmission line on beside the highway. If you have seen, where you go to when you are during your traveling also, you must have seen this high tower transmission line on side of the road. They are actually transferring electric current from such a large distance. That current comes to Bhavnagar substation. From this substation, that current, understand, comes to your home. You just start thinking, from Dabhoi to Bhavnagar, almost it becomes more than 300 around kilometer, which electric current has to travel. So when we have to transport the electric current to such a large distance, obviously the transportation cost counts. That's why AC current is more preferred to DC current. DC current for local supply, it is okay. Suppose you have seen generators, Generators, understand, utilizes what? They utilizes fuel. Understand, diesel. Through diesel this generator works. This diesel is also there to provide that motor mechanical arrangement to rotate the coil inside the magnet to produce electric power. But they are called fuel generators, maybe run by diesel, not petrol. Understand specifically. So AC and DC current. Okay. Suppose you are asked board exam that differentiate between AC DC. How will you write? First point, this is AC, this AC, alternating current, DC direct current, changes its direction frequently and regularly, no change in the direction, magnitude changes frequently, no change in the magnitude, transportation cost for AC current is low, transportation cost for DC current is high. These are the points of differences between AC and DC current. It may be asked in give reason why AC current is preferred than DC. So my dear student, only one point you can mention, that is production cost of AC is low compared to DC, first point. Second, transportation cost of AC current is quite less compared to DC current. So this way also a question can be asked. And dear student, one more thing. In India, in every country, the power rating are fixed. When we discuss the domestic electric circuit, I am going to discuss in detail about those power rating. But because the concept of fluctuation of AC current has come, so dear student, in India we are supplied the current with 50 hertz frequency. That means the current is going to fluctuate 50 times in 1 second. Then you start thinking that in 1 second if it fluctuates 50 times, so it is going to damage the device in your home. But those fluctuations are quite minor that you can't even notice. Some large fluctuation occur sometime only. Understood? Not every time. So I am telling that we in India receive a standard power rating current of 50 hertz. That means those minor fluctuations are going to occur. You understood this? In direction and magnitude. Is it clear? So this is somewhat about electromagnetic induction. Understand? A commutator or rectifier arrangement to ensure the unidirectional flow of electric current. Understood? One more thing, dear student. In our material also in SLP, I have given the question, mention two way of producing electric current in coil. So you know that keeping bar magnet beside the coil, move the bar magnet and keep the coil stationary, or keep the bar magnet stationary and move the coil, electric current can be produced. That is one way. There is one another way also. You take two coils, understand, one coil is already, understand, attached with the galvanometer and one with electric supply. So what happens? One coil, when you pass electric current through one coil, it becomes magnet. So that magnet is going to affect the coil near to that, and electric current can also be produced in that coil. It's simple to understand. Okay, so this is our discussion regarding electric generator. Okay, dear student. In this particular chapter now, only one topic is left, that is, even it has been eliminated by a central board, but we are going to cover it. That's the last topic of physics in this chapter, that is domestic electric circuit. They will discuss in our next lecture. Okay, dear student, thank you very much from Bharat sir.